If you ask me what show I was the most excited for in the fall 2021 anime season, no, it wasn't 86 returning for part 2. It wasn't even Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, coming back for part 2. No, it was Can I Make Your Ears Happy in 180 Seconds. Now, if you ask me what my most disappointing show of fall 2021 anime season, it was definitely, again, Can I Make Your Ears Happy in 180 Seconds. This is just a weird show. I've always had a fascination with weird shows. It's what you get when you take a growing trend like ASMR and try to mash it in with anime itself. But why is it disappointing? Why did it not work out for me despite my weird interest in such a weird concept? But I'm going to get into that with my review of Can I Make Your Ears Happy in 180 Seconds, or 180 Byou de Kimi no Mimi wo Shiawase ni Dekiru ka, a 12-episode series. It's a short that ran for 3.5 minutes, so let's jump into it. Can I Make Your Ears Happy in 180 Seconds is, like I said before, an ASMR anime. The concept of the show is essentially where this one girl, wanting to get with this guy, decides to buy an ASMR microphone. It's just this big dummy head that has 2 microphones, one for each ear. And she puts on a headphone and starts to basically make different sounds to each of the ears in order to simulate the concept of ASMR, which is this idea of creating different sounds that will stimulate the body itself, and that's what she's doing. And this kind of follows up with this other girl who's just trying to make friends, so she decides to do ASMR to get friends. I don't know what book she's reading to get friends from, but that's what she's doing. It has a sister, it has a mother that gets a hold of it. You have these other 2 sisters, these twins that get a hold of one. You even have this guy who decides to do it as well. And again, it's all in the concept of producing the stimulation effect of ASMR by doing different sound effects. And a majority of it is it being an anime, and from Japan, a lot of it is ear cleaning, because that's a big thing in Japan. Now, obviously, some people will ask, well, what were you expecting? What were you expecting that this show was going to give you? Well, honestly, I wasn't. I mean, if you ask me truly, I wasn't really going to expect much from this show. But like I said, the concept of itself is what intrigued me. I mean, I've loved series like One Room just for the concept of just a different way of storytelling. This concept of doing first-person storytelling that, yes, isn't going to tell a grand story. It's not going to have great animation or anything like that. And yes, it can probably be a little weird to a lot of people, but that's what I love about it. That weirdness, that different take on storytelling. And so there was 2 different hopes for me. One being like, okay, can this tell an interesting story? Can this writer actually do something besides just being obviously tantalizing in a certain way? It obviously didn't pull that off. But then again, taking this concept, doing stereo recording for, again, ASMR, will they do something interesting with it? They never really do. And that's, I guess, probably the downside for me. There's 2 elements really to the disappointment. The first one is really in the idea of this didn't really seem like it was properly utilized, the stereo recording. In a lot of cases, despite having this character in the show itself, one side or the other of the dummy, it was just recording it with a standard microphone. It didn't really sound like when you put headsets on, which it tells you to do. Like, okay, if you want the maximum experience of this, which is typically with ASMR, you're going to wear headphones. And so when you have the character in the scene itself, not in a central focus position, you'd expect the sound to be more dominant to one side or the other, and it didn't really feel like that. It almost made me believe that the voice actresses themselves and the actor recorded like these certain scenes with the actual dummy microphone, and then others they didn't. So you have this concept of the show itself, and they're not even utilizing it most of the time. I mean, the one prime example is the one male character they have in the show. The whole scene is with the person with their head on the lap, and yet you hear them in front of you. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So, adding to that, the kind of heavy emphasis on ear cleaning, which again is a Japanese thing. I don't personally get it. It doesn't really appeal to me, but that's apparently a big thing there. So obviously that'll be something they'll play off a lot of. And I think additionally, there was kind of a lack of really good writing in there. Now, granted, you're not really going to expect much of like writing. It's just an ASMR concept. The concept itself is to apply the ASMR. So I don't really expect the writing to be any good. But it was interesting to see, like, when we finally get an episode with the twins, they actually had a lot of comedy in there. It was a really funny concept, this idea of one of the sisters is trying to gain favor of the brother, and so she's yandere, like she's talking about using toxics and stuff in order to stop him from getting married. It was kind of like, okay, wow, they're actually doing some actual writing here and making something funny. Because the majority of the rest of the series really isn't, there's nothing much writing there besides this concept of trying to create sexual innuendos. I mean, that's a really a lot of it. A lot of this show is sexually charged. So yeah, keep that in mind. This is an obvious thing they're going to have there. A lot of the shots are just kind of heavy emphasis on open mouths or just butt shots or making sound effects with creams and stuff that's obviously implying something. A lot of heavy breathing. Again, a lot of the things that you'll get from stimulating ASMR. It's an intimacy that you have with that particular recording. And so, yeah, you're going to get a lot of fetishes that are going to be very hit and miss. I mean, yes, again, you're going to have a lot of these girls with kind of creams and stuff and making squishy noises, a lot of breathing in the ears. And then, yes, for those people, baby role play, because that's got to be in there with a mother character, is baby role play. So there's that. Surprisingly enough, I did enjoy the male character. I mean, now granted, I'm not into the male character, but my thing was before the show came out, they announced the cast, and the male character was voiced by the same seiyuu that did Ichiya from Fairy Tail. And as people know, I'm not a huge fan of Ichiya, but it worked out. He has a very gruff voice. Again, it's more akin to something like Ferdinand that he did for A Sentence of a Bookworm, which is definitely a lot more attractive. But yes, it does have a really solid cast here, which I think will probably entice a lot of people to probably check it out, or at least to check out the episodes those characters are in. Because yes, we have a decent seiyuu cast here. I mean, Shiori is voiced by the voice that did Krista from Attack on Titan, and Akari from Yoru Yuri. Suzuko is voiced by the seiyuu that did Sora from Digimon Tri, Ophis of High School DxD, Togo from Yuki Yuna as a Hero. Azumi of the show is casted by the seiyuu that did Eddie from Anatoria EX, so she's very familiar with the whole male gaze, first-person perspective storytelling. She also did Hinata from Tokyo Revengers, and Special Week from Uma Musume Pretty Derby. Kanai is voiced from the seiyuu that did Sena from Haganai, Ohana from Hanasaki Roha, Yui from Sword Art Online, Ruriko from Certain Magical Index and Railgun. Yu from this series is voiced by the seiyuu that did Shera from How Not to Summon Demon Lord, as well as Iroha from Real Girl or 3D Kanojo. And here's probably the one that a lot of people probably took notice of, and for those that are big fans of Kaguya-sama Love is War, Kaguya from that series, that seiyuu is voicing Aoi from this series. And then finally, like I mentioned before, yes, Ichiya from Fairy Tail, and Ferdinand from A Sentence of Bookworm is voicing the one male character in this show. So yeah, I had a lot of expectations for it. I did not live up to the expectations. Again, it's more of a interest because of weirdness. It's a weird show that's doing something different. Like I said, my interest from something like One Room is this idea of different ways of storytelling that, yes, is going to be more provocative. It's going to get very into this sexual innuendos and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's a lot of fun because it's doing something so different and so weird. But unfortunately, it got so stuck in the ear cleaning and just ruffle noises in one of the ears. The stereo recording itself for the characters' voicing never really seemed like it was taking advantage of the 2-channel recording. It just was a kind of a letdown in the end. But still, if you're looking for something weird, if you like ASMR, you're probably going to like it. But that's my thoughts on Can I Make Your Ears Happy in 180 Seconds, a series in the fall 2021 anime season. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below, comment. Let me know what you thought of the series. Did you get the reaction? I mean, I guess it's a big question mark. I didn't, but subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon. I'll throw tips link in the description below. We definitely appreciate everybody that does, and y'all take care.